Hello everyone! Sorry, I'm holding my phone instead of using a tripod today, but we are going to be talking about building an Instagram photo bank, how to do it, what it is, why you want it, and all of that jazz. So, for those of you that haven't watched any of my webinars or aren't really sure what a photo bank is, this is geared more towards an Instagram photo bank. So basically, whenever you go to post on Instagram, you have this bank of edited, ready-to-post images that are on brand and ready to go. So ideally, it's online where you can access it from your computer, from your phone, from wherever you're trying to access your gallery. So for me, I use Dropbox. And I did just see somebody ask or comment on one of my posts about organizing photos. And I do organize my photo bank on Dropbox. So I have the app on my phone, so I can download all of my photos, all of my photo bank photos onto my phone, or I can access them on my computer when I'm trying to schedule them for like Planoly, or if I'm trying to find a blog post image or something like that. So I do highly recommend Dropbox, just so you have all of the images in one place and you're not taking up your very, very important camera roll data, or storage, not data. And the way that I organize my photos in my photo bank, I'm not as good about it now as I used to be, but I would organize them according to category or topic. So if you guys have seen the 30-day Insta strategy in 1 hour training, you saw that I have a whole system for like planning your content out as far as your topics, like your weekly topic calendar and that sort of thing. And if you haven't downloaded that or accessed it yet, you can grab that free training at brandstrategyco.com/freebie. And it's just a 12-minute video walking you through a mini like workbook to get you all set on Instagram as far as your strategy goes and your content planning. So once you do that and you know what your topics are, what you're going to be talking about, what you're going to be posting about on Instagram, you can categorize your photos according to those different topics. So I have behind the scenes, because I really like to do a lot of behind the scenes, especially because my behind the scenes is kind of fun to watch when I'm doing photo shoots and working with clients or hosting workshops. It's really, really fun, and my audience really likes it. So I do a lot of behind the scenes images. I also have product photos listed out. I don't specifically have products, but I do have photos of my freebies and my trainings and things like that. If you're a service business, you can kind of do the same thing where you have like your specific service. Like if you're a wedding planner, you can have a whole bank of your recent weddings or something like that. And then I have a whole folder for headshots/photos of me. Hi, you guys. There's a lot of people in here. Headshots are photos of me should I want to mention something kind of personal, just so people can see the person that's talking about that thing, or something like that. And then I also have styled brand photos, so photos that I've taken very intentionally and specifically to maybe talk about a new blog post. So it's pictures of my phone or pictures of just like a styled desk space, especially if I know I'm going to be talking about a specific topic in the near future. So I have all those styled brand photos that coordinate well with my aesthetic. And then also studio or workspace photos, if you do a lot with, it's a little bit different than behind the scenes, but kind of still falls into that category. If you do a lot of like interior design, or maybe you're a graphic designer and you have a lot of really cool desk shots, or maybe you are a photographer and you travel a lot and you can get interior photos. So there's a million different ways that you can kind of organize those photos. But those are just a couple ideas to get you started. And if you did want to download that free training just so you can kind of work through what your topics would be, you can find that at brandstrategyco.com/freebie. And you'll get instant access to that. And it's a really popular training, so I highly recommend it. I've heard a lot of good things from people that have downloaded it and accessed it, and it's really quick. So like I said, having that photo bank of ready-to-post images is really great because you just always have something to post. So for me, I'm kind of 50-50 right now with posting on the fly and scheduling. I'll go through spurts where I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be busy this weekend. Let's schedule the next like 3 or 4 posts in advance just so I know that they're going out and I don't have to think about them when I'm like really busy or running around this weekend. So I have that bank of images where I'm not like, oh, I need to go take 4 pictures. I have those pictures are ready to go and I can just put my captions up and I know exactly what I need to say. And it's also great when you're posting on the fly and you're like, shoot, I have a blog that went live this morning. I need an image to like promote that on Instagram. I want it to be cohesive and branded and I want it to look nice on my feed. And if you don't want to go find good light and props and style, it's really nice to have that bank of images ready to go. So these are my tips. I didn't number them. It's like 8 tips. 8 tips for building an Instagram photo bank. So tip number 1 is to plan your aesthetic. I don't know if I have any blog posts about this. I might. But I highly recommend really thinking about your colors that you're going to be posting on Instagram, your mood, your vibe, your aesthetic, as far as what you want people to feel, especially the first time they land on your Instagram and your profile. Do you want them to feel like excited because you have all these bold, poppy colors, like primary colors, and everything's just like really wild and exciting? Or do you maybe want really feminine? Do you want more ethereal? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can go with it, but I recommend doing like a Pinterest mood board and pinning things that you like. And it can be like clothes and interiors and styled flat lays and all kinds of photos that you really kind of vibe with. And then you can take a look at the entire pin board and see, okay, these are the colors that I'm seeing, or this is the look or the vibe that I'm seeing, and kind of go from there. So I definitely recommend doing that just because, sorry, once you have your whole kind of mood and you know what you're going for, it's much easier to take photos in the future that are cohesive with that look that you like. I have my clients and my students go through the entire process of like mood board planning, and they actually print them out so they have them whenever they're going to post on Instagram or whenever they're going to take photos for Instagram. So, yes, I definitely recommend taking the time to plan that out. Oh, yes, I definitely will. I'm glad that that's a topic. Thank you for letting me know. I actually wrote it down for next week. So if you guys that are live right now, if you would be interested in that being the topic for next week, basically like, a guideline of how to plan the aesthetic of your Instagram. And any questions maybe that you have about that, leave them in the chat so I know exactly what topics to touch on next week. Because I'm always looking for ideas, and I feel like I love when you guys have requests because that really helps me out. So once you plan your aesthetic and you know, these are my colors, this is my vibe, what you want your Instagram to look like, sorry if my camera is really shaky. I'm holding it with my hand. Once you have that all planned out, the next thing you're going to do is plan your topics, like I said. And hopefully you already kind of have them planned out, but I like to think about, okay, I'm going to be talking about my blog, which is always about Instagram. I'm going to be talking about, my kids. I'm going to be talking about oils. And I'm making this up. But once you know what your topics are, you can really get specific about what the images are that you're going to be sharing with your audience, because you know exactly what you're going to be talking about. And that's how everything kind of correlates together. And I do recommend having photos that aren't super specific. So when you're in a pinch and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk about this thing, but all of my photos have oils in them and I need a non-oil image. So definitely having like a variety. And once you have your mood or your aesthetic planned out and you have your topics planned, I recommend getting kind of like taking images in bulk where if you're at an interesting venue or an interesting event, like a conference, or if you're at a wedding, or in a really cute coffee shop, or whatever it is, if it matches your brand, visually and content-wise, if it makes sense for you to share photos from there, take a bunch, like have a mini photo shoot of the space, maybe get a picture of yourself, get a picture of the details on the table, or just a couple different shots. And go crazy if you want to. It's kind of up to you with your comfort level, how much time you have, that sort of thing. But I recommend like gathering images as much as possible. Hi, Shyla. So Shyla is very good at this. She takes a bunch of pictures at once, edits them, and then she has them ready to go to post down the road, instead of trying to post like in real time every time you go to post on Instagram, which is nearly impossible if you want to have a somewhat decent looking Instagram feed. And then the other time I like to really be intentional about taking photos in bulk is when I'm doing like kind of fun business tasks. Like I said, so if I'm doing a photo shoot in the studio, I'll get shots of the props, I'll get shots of the backdrops, I'll get shots of my feet, surrounded by this mess. I'll get faraway shots. I'll set my phone up and get some photos of me working, or I'll bring my like big camera out and do that, or I'll get a tripod. Like, I will definitely leave a cool business task or something that's exciting. I try to leave that event or whatever with at least 20 photos. They might not all be great, and some of them might be similar, but I try to get a variety just so I have that bank constantly filling up, where I'm not like, oh, I posted this picture from this photo shoot like 5 times, or oh, I have these 5 photos from the same day, but I keep using them in like every other photo. So I definitely recommend getting a variety and getting as much as you can from a single event and taking advantage of things like that. Other times, like other exciting business tasks could be, like I said, photo shoots are always fun. Anything behind the scenes people love to see from you. The other thing you can do is if you're scouting, whether you're a photographer and you're scouting for cool locations, or maybe you're like a clothing designer or an interior designer and you're scouting for new materials, or maybe you're I don't know, maybe an interior designer scouting for inspiration. So going to like cool shops and like local boutiques for like design inspiration, whatever it is. Taking shots during those fun business tasks will kind of spread further than just like the more boring, like I'm sitting at my computer doing this thing. Here's a shot of that. So try to get more from those like more gram-worthy events if possible. And then a couple other events would be like maybe prepping for a client project. So maybe you just got hired by your dream client and she's having you design her website, and you're gathering like the physical props to make her like a physical mood board or something like that, and you're just gathering everything together. That's a great time to take photos. Or maybe you're in a client meeting in a really cool spot and you guys have your cute notebooks out and coffee or whatever. So anything that is it matches your brand and aesthetic, but also the content makes sense for the topics that you're talking about on Instagram. So if you're a wedding photographer, maybe using oils isn't necessarily going to translate, but if you're a wedding photographer and you're, at a cool wedding venue that you're scouting with a bride, that's a great time to take photos. So that is when I think you should take that, take photos in bulk. And then another time that you can do that, which I've talked about, I think I have a couple blog posts about this, but when you kind of feel like you're low on photos and you don't have any fun tasks coming up, you can always plan your own like brand photo shoot. And basically what I do, and I do it in here, probably not enough and I'm probably overdue, but what I do is I'll bring my backdrops out, I'll gather some on-brand props for things that I know that I'm going to be talking about in the next couple months. So if I know I'm launching something, or if I know I have a new website that I'm going to be sharing, whatever it is, I'll bring in props that kind of go along with that. So my computer, my phone, and then notebooks, coffee, cupcakes, whatever it is. And I gather all those props for that one day, bring them in, or I could take it at home near a north-facing window, a bright north-facing window, and just like style them and capture a bunch of shots with my phone. And you'll get way more variety if you switch up your backdrops and your props. So that was a mistake that I made a lot in the past, where I was like, oh, on a white backdrop, I'll just keep switching out these notebooks and these pencils and my phone and all of that fun stuff. but everything looked really, really similar. Like they all looked like they came from the same day because I wasn't switching out my backdrops as well. So you'll get a little bit more bang for your buck if you do kind of coordinate and alternate your backdrops as well, or your like space, whatever it is. So variety is really, really key when it comes to building a photo bank. Even if you took like 100 photos from a brand photo session, unless you're being really intentional about switching things out, it's going to feel like all of the photos look exactly the same. So your feed's just going to be filled with basically the same image over and over again, unless you're trying to create content that has that variety. And then my next tip is to get in the frame. So I did mention that a little bit, and somebody did ask, Kate, I think that was you on my Instagram, about getting in the shot more, or getting in your own Instagram photos more. It took me a really long time to get over that. I hate being in front of the camera. You can see clearly I'm doing much better than I used to. But a couple ways that you can get in your Instagram photos is to have your friend take a couple shots of you. So the photo that I posted 2 days ago was in a really cool Philly hotel, and I had somebody take a shot of me, like pretending that I'm working. And I got a couple shots of me working, and it was just iPhone shots, which are great, and they're more than enough. And it's really nice to have those because you have that variety then of like still life, like phone, desk, whatever, and then shots of me so you can actually see the person behind the business. Oh, thank you. So yeah, that's definitely really important to get in the frame. So having friends take shots of you, even if you're like at a cute coffee shop, which I feel like the younger generation is way better at getting in photos, where I feel like my age, like 28 and older, we're kind of like, meh, I don't want to ask. I don't want people to see me in this coffee shop getting my picture taken. And some people don't care, and I'm trying to care less, and I recommend caring less. So you have more Instagram content because it's for your business. That's my mindset tip of the day. And the other thing you can do to get more pictures of yourself is to plan kind of a bigger shoot, more than just like a brand photo shoot with your props, but maybe on location, even if it is in a coffee shop or an Airbnb or in your living room, and have your friend come over. You guys can even swap photos, and just have a couple more photos than what you would just by sitting in a coffee shop by yourself or with a friend. Get a variety of photos. And speaking of variety, change your outfits and your hair if you want, because if you have one like group of images where you're wearing the same thing, you're going to feel like you've used all of those images. So definitely bring different tops at the very least. If you go, actually I can pull it up right now, on my blog right now, I have, I'll turn it around. Me in that outfit. Me in that outfit once it loads. There it is. Me in that outfit. So it's like over and over again. Definitely overused. But if you can get that variety, I definitely recommend it. Sometimes I just take my glasses off and I feel like I have a different outfit on. So variety is very, very key to building a photo bank that lasts and that gets you further. And that's something that definitely takes a while to learn, or to like recognize. And I'm still kind of new at it, where I'm like, oh, I just hired somebody to do my Pinterest and somebody to do my blog, and all of my images are the same. So you'll get better at it over time, especially once you see what you're starting to pull more from. So I know, like, okay, photos of me, I use a lot. Photos of like my styled phone desk scape thing, I use those a lot. So I need a variety of both of those to get me further than, you know, this is me in the shirt over and over and over again. And let's see, my final tip, and thank you guys for popping in here. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any questions. So Code Love Creative says, I have an account for my vegan blog, and I get self-conscious when I take pics of my food while I'm out for my Instagram because I'm one of those people. Yes, that's a real thing. I felt like that a couple weekends ago. I was in Pittsburgh, and I was taking pictures of the most massive donut I've ever seen, because I bought two of them because I assumed they'd be like tiny little donuts, and they were these huge, like honkin', topped donuts. So I was like, of course, styling them and like bringing them in the mason jar in and getting cute shots. And then I was like, oh, I'm one of those people. And then I was like, oh, I don't care because this is going to do really well on Instagram and that's my job. So yes, it's hard to kind of get over it, but at the same time, once you do, you just do. Like other people's opinions, perceived opinions of you don't affect you. And most people don't care. Oh, and Kate says, Airbnb is a great idea. Yes. Or if you live in a cool town like we do, when there's a lot of people doing home renovations, a lot of times they rent out their space or even give it away for free for photo shoots. So they have like tons of really cool pictures in their home that's going up for sale. So definitely check those things out as well. All right. And my last tip for building a fabulous Instagram photo bank is to edit your images really consistently after every single like session or photo shoot or whatever it is. If you have like this bulk of images, even if it's like 5 images, edit them consistently using the same process or filter or preset or whatever your method is. Use those same steps for every single photo, and that's what creates that cohesive look. And then the next time you take photos, do the same steps or same filters again, and you'll really have that cohesive look. For me, I use Visco or VSCO Cam. It's an app on Android and iPhone. It's free. They do have in-app purchases though. But what I do is I'll edit, like I'll brighten and add a little contrast and fix the white balance and maybe straighten it if I need to, and then I'll copy those edits and paste them across all of the other images that I just took. So I can literally take a photo, edit it once, and then have 20 edited images in 30 seconds, by the time it goes the whole way through. And now I have 20 images to add in my photo bank, and they're edited and ready to go. And that's really vital. I wanted to mention, having them edited is night and day. So having the pictures is great, but having them ready to go and having them cohesive with the rest of your content makes it that much easier. So you can just throw them into Instagram. A lot of times I use drafts on Planoly where I'll fill up a draft or just like ready to post images, so I can literally click add to grid, put my caption and go. And it's already in there. I don't have to download it to my phone. I don't have to find it on Dropbox. Like it's already there. It's edited and I add my caption and it's on Instagram within 3 minutes. So I highly recommend that. If you guys have questions, leave them in the chat. I would love to know what your questions are. I'm just going to go over this really quickly. Tips for building an Instagram photo bank. Plan your aesthetic first. Plan out your content topics. Take photos while at interesting events or venues. Take photos during exciting business tasks. Plan a brand photo shoot. Get in your images more. And edit your images in bulk or consistently or both. And if you guys haven't grabbed the free training yet, I have a 30-day Insta Strategy in 1 hour training. It's a 12-minute video that walks you through the workbook that you get once you sign up. It's free. It's quick. You should be able to complete the entire strategy, which should give you 30 days of content, 30 days of really, really engaging Instagram content in less than an hour, or maybe like about an hour. And you can sign up for that at brandstrategyco.com/freebie. And it's really nice to pair that strategy with having a photo bank because you're just getting faster and faster every time. And once you have this big bank to pull from, that 30-day Insta strategy in 1 hour goes to like a 30-day Insta strategy in 45 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is. Once you have all of that content, the visuals ready to go. So it's really, really nice. And if you have quotes or if you have graphics, making those in advance and having them in the photo bank as well, you're just really good to go. So yeah, that is my whole live today. If you guys have questions, here they are. Let's see, where can I find cool backdrops for the brand photo shoot? Always looking for props. So Capture by Lucy backdrops, highly recommend. She has vinyl, I don't think I have any in here. She has really cool vinyl backdrops that are They're pretty small, like they're the perfect size for flat lace and things like that. But they're vinyl and they roll up teeny tiny, which is nice if storage is an issue. And because they're vinyl, everything wipes off. So if you're doing like food photography or like makeup crumbled everywhere, you just take a paper towel and wipe it right off and nothing's stained or ruined. And she has the coolest backdrops. I have 3 right now, but I have like a wish list a mile long. But I have her white marble, I have her concrete floor, and I have one of her really cool like abstract blue ones that I have not used enough because I'm more of a neutral gal, but she has a lot of really cool stuff. So definitely check her out, Capture by Lucy. She's on Instagram just as Capture by Lucy, but she also has a separate backdrop Instagram that's, I think, CBL backdrops. And if you scroll through my Instagram, I've tagged her multiple times, so definitely look for her in there. Or a really cool and beautiful table that is wide enough to stylize accessories. I don't know. I don't use any tables. There's, let's see, there's that, where is it? That IKEA table that is just at the studio that we always put things on top of. It's not cool, but that's where I put my backdrops. And then I'll put like a hard backdrop behind her, just use that white brick. And that's where I take like my tabletop photography. Let's see. What do you recommend for people who don't have a pro camera? An iPhone or a smartphone? It is more than enough. I do have some tips for iPhoneography on my blog if you're looking to improve your iPhoneography or your smartphoneography. Plenty of tips on the blog. Just good light. You need good light to have a good photo. And good light is this. It's north-facing windows. And turning off overhead lights is kind of vital. I don't have any on right now, which is why my light's kind of nice because I'm sitting next to these windows. And I don't have like crazy color cast kind of hitting me. I do have my computer in front of me, which is giving a little bit of a glare. But for the most part, turn off overhead lights, use all natural light. North-facing window gives you really great shadows. And yeah, use your phone. You don't need anything more than that. I promise. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go. If you missed the link for the training, it is brandstrategyco.com/freebie. It's my 30-day Insta strategy in 1 hour. So basically planning out 30 days of content in 1 hour. And if you have a photo bank, it should be faster and easier and fabulous. Early in the morning, natural light, yes. Very, very, it depends where your window is though. Because sometimes early in the morning can be direct sun, like sunrise, which is usually a little bit warmer. So it depends which direction your window is facing as well. All right, thank you guys. I will see you next week. I will be talking about, what did I say I was going to talk about? Planning your Instagram, like aesthetic and mood. So if you guys have requests or questions about that specific topic, leave them in my most recent Instagram post in the comments so I know exactly what I should cover if you have like very specific questions or like frustrations about that. So, all right, bye guys.